What's going on, Facebook? Let me see if we can get this thing to work today. I'm gonna try it a little bit different. And I don't know for sure if it's working or not. So bear with me. I think we're on. Oh, yay. Okay. All right, y'all. So welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back to me. I'm super excited about kind of getting back in the groove of things and chit chatting with everybody. I want to catch up. For those of you who've been following me for a long time, I used to do a video every day for like 2 years. And so we did tons of bonding and tons of catching up and staying in touch and lots of coaching, lots of everything. Really, like, I think these videos are a great way to get to know the people that you're connected with and things like that. So for those of you who maybe don't know me quite as well or haven't been following for quite as long, Ultimate Power Coach here. Hey, Marci Batiste, America's #1 reality-based success and recovery trainer. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is successes. And I am actually doing my live today from the desktop version. So I'm not quite sure how well I'm going to be able to see comments and things like that. So if y'all can see me or if you can hear me, just drop a comment or emoji or something in the chat so that I can see that this is all working and whatnot. But anyway, so again, Marci Batiste here, the Ultimate Power Coach, and I'm super excited to be back on live and getting back into a flow. So my goal is to be on with y'all more often like I was. I don't know if it'll be every single day for a year or 2 years or however long like we did before, but certainly making myself and my presence a more regular piece of your Facebook experience. So at any rate, those of y'all who follow me know that I am a football fan. So my Steelers won today, or won this week, and I was super excited about that. This was actually kind of a big deal because this was the first game that my new team played my ex team, which was the Broncos. I was a diehard Broncos fan for 25 years. And so recently migrated. Hey, Shireen, how are you? Recently migrated over to Steeler Nation for some moral and political reasons that I won't go into here. But anyway, that's my new landing spot, is in Pittsburgh. And I was super excited to see that they beat the Broncos, even though I couldn't watch the game here in Dallas. So anyway, what's going on with you guys? Drop some notes, drop some chats, hit the DM. The topic I really want to talk about today, besides getting an opportunity to kind of catch up and sort of reintroduce myself, one of the things that I pride myself on is always approaching things from a reality perspective, and really looking at life and relationships and business from a perspective of reality. And that's hence the reality-based coaching. And so always trying to give practical, usable tips that you can apply, whether you're talking about life in general, whether you're talking about personal or intimate relationships, if you're talking about business relationships, or if you're talking about your career and your business. And so for me, one of the things that I have recently moved my coaching back into is more of the financial arena. Some of you might remember I used to have a company called Bankable Success, and it was coaching, it was career coaching. And so I kind of got away from the financial piece of it and realized that that's a big piece that's missing in our communities. And so I invested the last year or so really trying to figure out, how do I do something that I feel is very meaningful and mirror that and pair that with something that I love, which is finance. And so some of you all have seen like the credit repair and things like that I'm getting into now. And I've partnered with a great company. My franchise is growing. And so I'm super excited about that. But again, you know, I just think that connecting with our community and giving usable, practical tools that you can apply in your life, your relationships, and your business is critical to your success, no matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I use the principles that we're going to talk about today, the 5P's of wealth and wellness. I use the same principles in my business, and I use the same principles in my weight loss journey, weight management journey, whatever you want to call it, my battle, my battle with the scale, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I use these same principles for that, from the standpoint of, you know, they are usable, they're practical, and that's what, you know, we really try and talk about. That just made it worse. But you know, that's what we talk about. Is it practical? Can I use this time and time again? And once I have these principles under control and I have a grasp on them, being able to apply them to any situation. And so the 5P's is really definitely principles for life. Hey Diana, what's going on, sis? I miss you. I can't wait to see you. I need to come to Atlanta sooner rather than later. But we're talking about the 5P's of wealth and wellness today. And so one of the things that I think we overlook, the first principle. So if you don't have notes out, you might want to take some notes, because like I said, these are principles that you can apply to your life, to your relationships, and to your business. So it doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish. If you want to achieve success, you have to master these 5 things. The very first one is present. Be present. And it seems like that should be sort of a kind of a no-brainer, that you have to be present. But when I say be present, I mean you have to show up for yourself in every way. So, you know, going to an event isn't necessarily enough if you just go and then you don't take notes, or you don't apply what you learn. You have to be present. You can't be in a situation where you're constantly distracted. If you're trying to learn something, you're trying to grow, you have to mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of you has to show up for you, and make sure that you know, one of the things that we get frustrated sometimes when we're trying to achieve a goal is that people aren't buying into it, right? They're not supporting our goal. They're not, you know, showing up for us. They're not coming to events, or they're not, you know, liking your posts or whatever. Here's what I'm going to tell you about success, wealth, and wellness. Sometimes you're going to be in it alone. Like, your boat is going to be just you. You're going to be the captain. You're going to be, you know, the maintenance person. You're going to have to be all of those things. But the one thing you're also going to have to do for yourself is to be your own cheerleader. You know, one of the things my mentor taught me was, and I used to say this all the time. He said, don't expect your family and friends to show up for your business. That's not what they signed up for. They signed up to be family. They signed up to be friends. If you decide that you're going to start a new business, or you want to go on a weight loss journey, or you want to, you know, I don't know, any goal that you can possibly have, whatever that is, once you decide, remember, you decided that. So you're the one that has to be present for it. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not their job to show up. It's nice when they do, but here's what I will tell you. As a public speaker, one of the things that I had to learn was that there is an audience for your gifts and for your talents. All you have to do is be present. They're going to respond to your sound. They're going to vibe on your frequency if they're for you. And if they're not for you, then why do you care if they're there or not? Right? So that's the first principle. Be present. The second one is you have to be positioned. So oftentimes we think that we can just do things alone, or we can go it alone, or we can just sort of just decide, okay, this is going to be the thing that I'm going to do, and think that we can be out there on the island. And while you may be trying to chase the dream or chase the vision on your own, you have to have other people that you are positioned with and aligned with. But make sure that you're aligning yourself with the right people. Okay? Like, sometimes the people that have been on our journey with us for years and years and years, they're not equipped to go to the next step. They're not equipped to go to the next level. And it doesn't mean that they love you any less. It doesn't mean that they don't support you. It just means that they can't come where you're going. And that's the thing about success. That's the thing about growing and becoming successful. You're going to have people who are jealous of you. I just had a conversation with somebody about this. You're going to have people that are jealous of you. When you start showing up and you are adequately positioned, that goes away. People who are in alignment with your journey and who are there to be able to help you, they're not going to be jealous of your success. They're going to celebrate your success, because here's the thing. Like, this is what I always said about my clients. When my clients do better, I look better. So why wouldn't I want you to win? But that comes with being aligned with the right kinds of people. And you can't have people that have a crab in the bucket mentality that you're aligning yourself with and positioning yourself with. You have to be positioned with people who can help you and teach you and coach you. But along with that, the positioning alone, you got to be coachable, because the best coach in the world ain't going to do nothing for you if you refuse to learn and you refuse to listen. And I will tell you in true transparency, because y'all know I'm always going to tell you like the real. Like, that was a hard thing for me. I mean, I came from, an executive position in banking and that sort of thing. And I thought that I could apply those skills to entrepreneurship, and that I already know how to run a business. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. I have a coach because I needed to be coached. And I struggled in the beginning to be coachable, because I'm like, but that's not the way, but that's not how, but that's not what. And you have to throw all that out the window. And when you're positioned right with the right types of people, they're going to give you the tools. They're going to give you access to the resources. They're going to help you do the things that you need to do, but you have to be coachable. So being positioned with the right people and allowing yourself to be coached by them is going to be critical. That's number 2. So be present and be positioned. Number 3 is that you have to be patient. You have to be patient. Like, if I could tell you how many times, even me personally, I've wanted to throw in the towel on things. I've wanted to give up. You have to be patient, guys. Like, when I look at just using weight loss for an example, I didn't get fat overnight. So, I mean, it seems like I do, but I don't, right? And so just like it takes you a while to get in the position that you are, or however you got to where you are, it's going to take you some time to get to the place where you want to be as well. So you have to be patient with the process and understand that success is a journey. It's not a destination, because I guarantee you, as soon as you reach one level of success, guess what? You're going to want more. Like, you're going to want to do more, and you're going to want to help more people, and you're going to want to grow to greater heights. Like, that's just normal. So, being patient is so important. I was listening to an interview with Uncle Charlie Wilson, some time ago. This was several years ago. But anyway, in the interview, he said, I was a 20-year overnight sensation. And so I thought about that, and I was like, 20-year overnight sensation. But here's the thing. It took him 20 years to achieve a level of success that he was comfortable with. Although to the naked eye and to people looking on, it might have seemed like he was an overnight sensation. He wasn't. He was constantly in there. He was constantly in the trenches. He was constantly touring. He was constantly performing. He was constantly, sometimes giving away services, doing things for free. I mean, when I got into motivational speaking, I did a lot of speaking at no charge, because that was what I needed to do to get my foot in the door, and so sometimes you'll have to do some things along the way, but you have to be patient, because you're not going to be an overnight success. Even the most successful people that you see, very seldom it happens overnight. It just appears that way when you're watching, because one day they're like nobody, they're just average, they're just one of your homies, and then the next day, like, you see them on TV or in a magazine or For me, like, people make a big deal about, the fact that I've written books and made the bestseller list and all this kind of stuff. Like, but that didn't happen overnight. I've been writing, like, between journals and blogs and all that kind of stuff since I was probably 7 or 8 years old. My mom sent me letters that I used to write to her. So, hey Mario, how are you, honey? So they don't understand that overnight success can take 20 years. And for most people, if you're not passionate enough about what you're doing and where you're going and where you're headed and what your dreams are, if you tell somebody it's going to take you 2 years, it's going to take you 5 years, heaven forbid if they tell you it's going to take you 20 years, are you still going to sell out to that? Are you still going to be there? And that's what I'm saying. Principle number 3 is you have to be patient. It's going to take time. You're going to have to learn. There's a process to it. It's an evolution. And that's something that you just can't get around. Like, no matter what, you're not going to be able to get around it. So be present, be persistent, be patient. And number 4 is, number 2 is be positioned. And number 4 is to be persistent. Don't give up. There's that book, 3 Feet from Gold, right? And I know you all have seen the memes where the guy is like digging with the hammer and the gold is like right here and he's like this far from it, but he stops digging 3 feet from gold. And that's what happens sometimes. We don't stay in there long enough for the breakthrough, because part of that patience has to be paired with persistence. And so you're going to have to knock on some doors. You're going to have to talk to some people. You're going to have to step outside your comfort zone. You're going to have to do some things that you never thought you'd have to do in order to reach that pinnacle of whatever that success is going to look like for you. I shared a video the other day about me running, right? And I was talking about how it's not a big deal for a lot of people. But for me, that's a big deal because it was something that all my life, as a chubby little kid, I was always told, like, you can't run, like you're slow, you're fat, you're this, you're that. But that willingness to be persistent paid off. So every time I run, I'm reminded of that persistence, and I'm reminded of how important that is. Even if you get sidetracked sometimes, and even if you have to slow down, and even if you you journey off course for a little bit, you can still course correct, but you have to be persistent in what it is that you're doing. You have to completely sell out. Y'all see me sometimes do hashtag sold out to my happiness. That's something I'm persistent about. Happiness, even something as simple, like, you think happiness just happens, but it doesn't. Like, I'm intentional about doing things that are going to put me closer to my happiness. When I see things, or I see, relationships or alignments that are taking me off course from things that make me happy, I gotta let it go. And I've had to let some people go that I never thought in a million years that I would have to let them go. But I had to, because they were inhibiting my happiness. And for me, happiness is one of my, that's part of my wealth and wellness. Part of my wealth is my happiness. And so being persistent, never giving up, realizing that it's going to, things are going to shift. You're going to have to course correct. But that eye on the prize is so important to your overall ability to achieve success. And the 5th principle is the process. The process, the process, the process, the process. I can't reiterate that enough. You have to be intentional. You have to be strategic about what it is you're trying to accomplish. The other 4 things that we talked about, being present and being positioned and being patient and, being persistent, all of that, still you can fall short if you don't have processes in place. If your strategic alignments and your positioning let's say you've positioned yourself with a group or an organization, and they've got some tools and some resources that you can use to help to help progress your mission and what it is that you're trying to do, but you refuse to follow it. The process is just as important as all those other 4 things, because that's what's going to allow you to replicate your success. And that's the thing that's going to allow you to move on into the next thing. And so for me as an entrepreneur, I never worry so much about if the thing is working. I focus on, am I in the right system? Do I have the right processes in place? And that was a hard lesson for me to learn, is the importance of the process, because by nature I'm not a super organized person. So I have to make sure that I have processes in place that allow me to stay organized and to become more organized. And if there's systems that are available to me, I have to be willing to use those. So that's the thing, guys. The 5 P's, wealth and wellness, keys to success, they're principles, they're life principles, really, that you can apply to life, relationship, and business, no matter what it is that you're trying to achieve. It just so happens that my focus is on wealth and wellness, so improving your financial and your physical wellness. And one of the things that I like I said, I started the credit repair business. I partnered with a great company, and I did that because the process is important. The company that I've started my franchise through already has processes in place. It automates the majority of the work. My job then gets to do what I love, which is talking to people, which is coaching people, which is helping people become better, achieving their success, achieving their goals. And I chose credit repair specifically because of my history in banking, right? As a banker, I saw it all, and I saw the difference between what happens when you understand the game of credit and finance versus what happens and what it looks like when you don't understand the game of credit and finance, right? And so oftentimes that's a piece that goes on. It gets overlooked, and we think that we can talk about wealth, but we can't teach how to maintain. We don't teach how to maintain it. So you see athletes, for instance, they'll get multi-million-dollar contracts, and then as soon as the cash flow stops, they're broke. Well, why are they broke? Because they didn't have these principles in place. They didn't have a process in place to maintain their wealth, and they didn't have the proper positioning. They weren't aligned with the right people. So while they were showing up, they were still missing some of these principles, and without all 5 of the principles, you're gonna struggle. And so for me, the credit piece of it is so big, because it's not necessarily about the money in the bank as much as it is your access to be able to get funds. And when we look at buying a house, for an example, let's say your house is $275,000. Most people don't have $275,000 in the bank where they can just go and say, hey, let me get a cashier's check for this. Here's the money for my house. Thank you very much. I'll take my keys, right? So it's not necessarily, wealth is not just about the money that you have in the bank. Wealth is about access, and it's about maintenance. And so credit becomes a huge piece of that puzzle, because now that $275,000 house I wanted, if I don't have $275,000 in the bank, I need to go to the bank and get a loan for it. And what are they going to base that off of? They're going to base that off my credit, right? You've got people who are struggling for, transportation to get to and from work. It's not necessarily their finances that keeps them from being able to go and purchase a vehicle. Sometimes it's just their credit. They have the money, they can afford the payment, but to be able to get somebody to take a risk on them, they're struggling there. And so for me, guys, that's why when I saw the opportunity, I was like, you know what? Being able to marry two of the things that are so important to me, one which is to be able to help people become more successful and give them the tools that they need to improve their happiness meter, right? To raise that up. And then to help them understand the game. And understanding the game is such a huge part of the overall road to success. Because you got people out there that are playing by different rules. They're playing by different rules, and if you don't understand the rules of the game, and in this case, if you don't understand the rules of credit, you don't understand the rules of wealth management and maintenance, then no matter how far you get, it can still be snatched away because you haven't learned the rules and you don't have the principles in place. And so that's why, as kind of my my first journey back into doing these online sessions with you guys and chiming in with y'all, I really wanted to talk about those 5 principles because they're going to be foundational to your success, whether you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get a job, you're trying to buy a house, whatever the case may be. And for me, as a banker, career financial services person, I saw it, and I saw that's where our community struggles. That's where our community struggles, is being able to have some of these things in place and then being able to trust. And so when we talk about those alignments, one of the things that I see a lot with people who even know that they need to deal with their credit, or they want to improve their credit score, they're trying to buy a car and they've been turned down or whatever. They don't trust. They don't trust the process. They don't necessarily trust me. They don't necessarily trust, the fact that the system will work, that sort of thing. And part of that positioning, guys, is you're going to have to put yourself out there, and everything comes with a risk. But what I will tell you is that me personally, because it's my name on the line. It's me that you're going to talk bad about if it doesn't work, right? So for me, it was important that I found a company to partner with that I felt and had been proven over 17 years, right? Had been proven to be successful at what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And that is for our community to get themselves on a level playing field with other communities. Be able to support one another, be able to provide the tools, provide the resources, provide the education, whatever the case may be. That's important to me. So that's kind of just a brief overview, guys, giving you a look at, again, the 5P's, those pillar principles and that sort of thing, and kind of giving y'all a little bit of background, because I know for some people it was strange to see me start talking about credit and credit repair and finance and things like that. And I know there's millions of people out there doing it, millions of companies out there available. But knowing that I picked the one that I picked, because not only do you get credit repair, but you get educated on the process. So it goes far beyond just that one piece, because you know what? We can go in and fix your credit, but if you haven't learned you haven't learned how to play the game, and you haven't learned how to maintain it, then guess what? I can get you to a 750, but if you don't know the rules, you're gonna still lose that and fall back into old habits and old routines. And so for me, I chose the company that I work with and that I franchised with, because it's about the education. It's about the education. It's about truly helping our community come up. It's about our community knowing how to play by the same rules that everybody else gets taught in junior high and high school and that sort of thing. They're having those conversations at the dinner table. So the fact that we don't have those conversations sometimes puts us at a disadvantage. And my goal is to give you all the tools, give you the resources, give you the education, give you the coaching, give you the support that you need to overcome those disadvantages and put yourself and your family on a level playing field. So that's it for me today, guys. I want to make sure I don't go over about 30 minutes because y'all know me. I can get on here and start just talking and talking and talking, and I don't want to do that. But that is just the surface, y'all. So like I said, I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to have my coaching hat back on and be able to do it in a way and in an arena that is important to me, to be able to help my community and my people in a whole different way. So for me, I'm signing off for today, y'all, but drop a comment in the chat. And if you have questions about credit repair, finance, if you have questions, just general questions for me in general, feel free to drop them in my DM. Let's chat about it. If it's a subject that you think would be beneficial for other people to hear about or learn about or get a perspective on, let me know, because this is us building a community, guys. This isn't me on an island by myself. I'm not talking at you. I'm part of the community with you. So reach out, don't hesitate. And on Sunday, I want y'all all to say go Steelers for me as we take the field again. So, okay, but don't hold that against me if you're not a Steelers fan, especially you Cowboys fans, because I know y'all out there acting crazy, but that's neither here nor there. I'm signing off for today, guys. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. I got to figure out how to end this thing now. All right, here we go. Y'all have a great day.